time. Well, it was that guy.
It wasn't me.
All right, we're starting. Let everybody in to the webinar.
Right.
Welcome everybody to Powerhouse Arena's virtual events. My name is Chris. I'm the events coordinator here. And tonight we are hosting the launch for Mother for Dinner by Shalom Auslander. You'll be in conversation with Andre Royo. You can buy copies of the book at powerhousebookstores.com. The link is in the event page, and I'll post it here too. If you have any questions, you can use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen, and Shalom will take your questions at the end of the event. And I'll introduce our speakers now. Andre Royo is an actor, producer, and writer, known for his performance as Bubbles in HBO's The Wire, and who has appeared on shows like How to Make It in America, Party Down, Tim and Eric's Bedtime Stories, Happy-ish, and Empire. Shalom Auslander was written in Vermont, New York. Nominated for the Carr Award for Writers Under 35. He has published articles in Esquire, the New York Times Magazine, Tablet Magazine, The New Yorker, and has had stories aired on NPR's This American Life. Auslander is the author of the short story collection Beware of God, the memoir Foreskin's Lament, and the novel Hope, a Tragedy. He is the creator of Showtime's Happy-ish, and he lives in Los Angeles. And I will let you guys take it away.
Thank you very much, my man. And I live in New York. You know, don't just say Los Angeles. New York is another hub of creatives. So yes, it's good to be here.
Yeah.
Shalom, you wrote a great book, my man.
Thank you.
So it's so funny. In 2020, I know growing up, it was all about. I'm a mama's boy, only child, and it's always about the Oedipus. I want to have sex with my mom. But now you brought a new genre. You brought a new psychiatrist problem. I remember when to eat mom. If my mom says, "Hey son, when I die, you better eat me," I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it because that's my mom, and I'm gonna do it. I'm like the third child. I'm going too far, but I'm like the third child. I'm gonna eat my mom so she lives within me.
Well, we'll get to it. I heard someone a while back. I don't know who it was, but I was at a reading and they asked me about some guy had said that he feels bad for my mother because I want to have he thinks I want to have sex with her. And
That's right. That's the norm.
And I said, you know what? I don't want to have sex with her. I just want to fuck her. That's different. I want to like, you know, I want to fist her. I don't want to have, I
want my mom to go, you're going to be a good boy. Look at you go. You're going to take over the world. Look at you go.
I'm not a sicko. I'm not going to make love to her. All right. So I'm going to read a little bit from this book. It does concern the a group of Americans, a minority group, cannibal Americans specifically. And so I'll read a few pages and then we'll talk a little bit about it. The book opens.
Yes, and please know from your book that right now you reading from this book, you're doing more than Jack Nicholson ever did. And thank you.
For those people. Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Jack Nicholson is a cannibal American, by the way, according to the character in the book. I don't know if it's true or not, but there's no
Let's
reason.
say it is. Let's say it is.
Yeah, no
He looks like an eater.
So the book opens with a photo. It's an actual photo, and we should talk about this a little bit, of something called Americanization Day, which took place at the Ford factory in 1917. It's an enormous black melting pot with people going in and out of it carrying American flags. So we'll talk about that in a minute. And it starts with a couple of quotes. The first quote is from a poem. It says, "Without reflection, without sorrow, without shame, they've built around me great high walls, and I sit here now in despair." That's from Constantine Kabafi. The next is, "Two cannibals sit beside a campfire. I really hate my mother, says one. Says the other, then just eat the rice." It's an old cannibal American joke. All right, chapter 1, so to speak. Mothers taste awful. They're revolting head to toe. The head is the worst part. No amount of seasoning will change that. Ask anyone who's consumed one. You can broil them, you can sous vide them, you can dehydrate them and turn them into jerky. It won't help. Even their smell is awful. Toss one on the grill and you'll think someone has been burning car tires, which, with a bit of aioli, would probably taste better than mother's. It's not a gender thing, don't get excited. Women in general taste no worse than men, and they often taste better. Much depends on the preparation, of course, but men tend to live sedentary lives, which gives them a smoky flavor that's not to everyone's liking. Women, on the other hand, tend to be more active and live longer, their meat more lean, their flavor more subtle. But mothers, specifically women who have borne a child, are a very different story. Mothers tend to live much longer, which leaves them gamey and dry, their years seasoned with disappointment and heartbreak, their deaths often precipitated by long terms of confinement to bed, which stiffens the muscles and joints. As they said in the old country, when a dead mother beckons, no one wants seconds. Not that fathers taste good, mind you, but men on average die younger and often suddenly. They're no Peter Luger, but they beat the hell out of mothers. What about mothers who die young, you wonder? Do they taste good? Yes, they do. They're delicious. It's a terrible irony of which only the ancient Cannibalian people are aware. The younger the deceased, the sweeter the meat. The sweeter the meat, the more bitter the heartache. Seventh Seltzer was at work in his office high above Manhattan's bustling Soho district, wondering how many Burger King Whoppers his mother could eat before she dropped dead. She'd been eating them for years now, often as many as 12 a day, every day, trying, as was the tradition, to fatten herself up for death. 100, he wondered? 1,000? Tops. No way she could eat more than 1,000 Whoppers, he thought. He was way off. It was morning, but outside his office window, the sky above the Hudson River was already turning the dull, oxidized gray of slaughtered meat left out too long. An early winter snow was approaching, catching the city off guard, but Seventh had too much work to worry about it. His desk was buried beneath a mountain of unread manuscripts. Seventh rejected every manuscript he read. It wasn't their predictability. He was in publishing, after all. He was used to predictability. It was part of a larger problem with which he had struggled his entire life. Identity, the I word. For Seventh, identity had always been a prison he longed to escape. White, black, brown, American, European, Russian, male, female, straight, gay, they, them, atheist, monotheist, polytheist, the ever-growing list of cell blocks from which there was no release. And yet lately, all around him, the prisoners were proudly raising their shackles overhead and cheering their own bondage. Seventh worked on the 8th floor of his office building, and if he was certain that the impact of his skull with the sidewalk would kill him, he would have jumped out the window 20 identity-obsessed novels ago. He hadn't bought a new manuscript in months, and Rosenblum had been in to see him about it that morning. What did you think about that Croatian-American one? Rosenblum asked. I thought that showed promise. Which Croatian-American one? The pro-choice lesbian Croatian-American one. Seventh shrugged. It's no different from the heroin-addicted autistic Christian-American one, he said. The heroin-addicted autistic Christian-American hemophiliac one, you mean? Rosenblum asked. No, said Seventh, the heroin-addicted autistic Christian-American diabetic one. The type 2 one, asked Rosenblum, or the type 1 one? Both, said Seventh. Rosenblum sighed. We're a tribal creature, Seventh, he said. Division is the way of man and woman. It's in our blood. Have you ever looked at a map of human migration? We began in Africa as one and got the hell out as soon as we could, braving storms, oceans, beasts, famine. Why? Wanderlust? To see Paris in the springtime? No, because we couldn't stomach each other, not for 1 minute. Hell is other people. Sartre said that, but early man would have said it sooner if he had developed language. Or she. Someday, Seventh Seltzer, mark my words, everyone will have a nation of their own. Not every people, every person. It's the only way he'll be satisfied. Or she. 1 foot by 1 foot squares, evenly divided all around the globe, surrounded by walls 10 feet high, topped with razor wire and colorful flags, everyone in their own square singing rousing marches about how their square is number one, how God chose their square over all other squares, how this square foot is their square foot, and God help the person who tries to take it from them. We're obsessed with our squares, with our people, with our pasts. That's why mankind has no future, or womankind. That's the bad news. What's the good news? Seventh asked. It's a growing market, said Rosenblum. He picked up a manuscript from Seltzer's desk. Is this the one about the blind alcoholic Latinx Sri Lankan American? He asked. Yes, said Seventh, but it read just like the one about the gender-neutral albino Lebanese Eritrean American. Just find something, Rosenblum demanded, tossing the manuscript on Seltzer's desk before stomping out the door. And then Seventh's phone rang. He glanced down and saw the familiar name on the screen, Mud, the name he and his siblings called their mother. Mud said that when First was a baby, he couldn't pronounce the word mother and it came out Mud. Bullshit, First said. If I had named her, he insisted, it would have been something a hell of a lot worse than Mud. Seventh agreed with First. Third agreed with Mud, but Third always agreed with Mud. Fourth, the smartest of the bunch, stayed out of it, declaring simply that a myth becomes truth if enough people believe it. First despised Mud. Only Second hated her as much, but he hated her mostly because First hated her. And the names he called her were indeed worse than Mud. He called her the A word and the B word, the C word and the D word, the E word and the F word. He called her every word, in fact, but the M word, mother. He was the first to be born and the first 18 years later to leave. Don't answer the phone, Seventh thought. He answered the phone. Fuck. Hello, Mud, he said. There was a long pause before she whispered weakly, it's time. Time for what, Mud, he asked. You know what, she said. Your sister's here, so are your brothers. First is there, he asked. Yes. First is there in your house. He's downstairs, she said, with the others. Which others? Everyone, she said. It's time, Seventh. Will you come? Say no, thought Seventh. Yes, he said. Fuck. And so Seventh Seltzer put down the memoir of a paraplegic, pescatarian, Presbyterian, conjoined Filipinx Arab American and headed for Brooklyn. All right, that's the point where at an actual non-Zoom thing, there might be reactions from actual human beings. But
Yes.
here we are. Here I am reading too soon.
It's so funny. I'm an only child, right? So it's so funny because in your book, when Mud brilliantly described the set, the 13, because I think 6 died.
Right.
I've been every kid at some point.
Right.
I've
Yes.
been every kid. The brave one. I hate you, Mom. I'll fight for you, Mom. I
Right.
want to be different than you are, Mom. Like, it was so brilliant. And in reading that first joint that you read, I knew that the most offensive part about that really was that if you have a kid, you dry. I don't know why I said mothers are dry. Because I remember my ex-wife was like going through menopause, and they told her, okay, that's it. She was taking baths in olive oil because she didn't want to be dry. That's the only thing. Everything else was on point. Else was on point in the idea of, you have kids and you want to have kids that you feel will spread your education or spread your wisdom or spread your history to the world, because you feel like, I don't want to die. I don't want to disappear. I don't think nobody wants to disappear. They want to be talked about. They want to be mentioned. That, who told me that? My dad one day told me Nikes are better than Reeboks. Like, you just want to be talked about. And I thought all the kids in their own way talked about Mud in different aspects, but
Yeah.
still she was talked about. Still her presence resonated with all the kids. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, to me, like,
hero sometimes.
what was interesting to me though is that, the middle kid, Seventh,
Going after death. Yes. That was
and
great.
he's the one who most gives voice to this idea of he's conflicted because on the one hand, he was raised cannibal American and his people are cannibal American and they're the last family. There's none left. So he feels this tremendous responsibility. On the other hand, he doesn't like the traditions and he doesn't want to be seen as that's not what defines him, right? And so for me, that was the character that I entered the story with. All those, like you said, all those siblings are me, different versions of me.
Yeah.
The one that's in the hardest spot for me is Seventh because, I was raised from day one, you come out, they slap you on the ass and put a yarmulke on your head. And forevermore, that's who you are. You're a Jew. For better or worse, some people like it, some people don't, but you're stuck with this thing for now on. And I felt like, growing up, there was this kind of weird, it's, it's different for a Black person and a Jew. I can take my yarmulke off and fit in.
Yeah.
So there was this weird, like, where do I go? Who do I belong to? Because I don't want to belong to that world, of the past and of Holocaust all the time. And, there's Nazis under your bed. But I also look at the other world and go, well, I'm not so sure that's the place I want to be either. And so Seventh's big sort of struggle is, this weight that's on his shoulders of 6,000 years of tradition, thousands of years. There's a long chain of people, and he's decided he's sick of the chain. He doesn't want that on him. So I thought it'd be interesting to talk with you because, when we talk, it's always fairly open and unrestrained. And, I felt like there's something interesting in, how identity feels to people.
Yeah. I mean, it's just not identity. I felt close to Seven mostly because, and it's weird enough, mostly because of what Mud was talking about with Jack Nicholson. Like, I know who I am. Being a Black person, I'm bavad with what I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to fight for, who I'm supposed to use. And Seven, he didn't escape. He removed himself, but I don't know if he would have removed himself from the tradition if Jack Nicholson would have said it. If Jack Nicholson said, yes, I'm cannibal, Seven might have been like this. Okay, that's cool. But because Seven was sitting in a position of, I'm doing good without the representation. I'm doing, I think, fine without the acknowledgement of what my race is supposed to be. I don't need it. I don't need the history because I think who's the other one that was all into it? Was it Fifth?
Yeah.
Who was the one that was all into history?
Eighth and 10th.
Eighth and 10th.
Yeah.
There was a few that was all in. There's a few that was abused. You put it so well with the before death and after death of 6.
Right. So just to clear everyone in,
catch him up on that.
After that, so there were, first of all, Jack Nicholson in cannibal American mythology is a cannibal, and so a major sort of moment for cannibal Americans was when he won the Academy Award for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and they all went out and bought TVs and watched at home, waiting for him to get up there.
They wanted to hear it. Yes.
Say, hey, you know what? I just won this, and I want to shout out to my people, the cannibals, and I think we deserve equality and respect. And he got up and he thanked the Academy and he made some fucking joke about his agent.
Kept it moving,
and sat back down. And it was like it was this devastating thing for cannibal Americans because their moment to, he was going to be acknowledged. They were going to be acknowledged. They were going to be accepted. If an Academy Award winner is cannibal, then, maybe cannibals are all right.
That's right. And I feel like, in being a Black man in America, it was a different type of tone of, we wanted to be acknowledged. We feel like right now, and it's so great to read that book and be, I think as an artist, it's our job to bring up these type of topics and bring up these type of issues, but have some sort of entertainment value, so you don't feel like you're just being banged in the head. You're being entertained, so you don't even know you're being educated. And being a Black American right now, our aspect is we always wanted representation. We always thought we would be included in American society if we make enough money. So we had a lot of accolades as far as Richard Pryor, Martin Luther King. We had people that was stepping up, but they all talked about a victimization that we were going through. There hasn't been a black artist that said, "Oh, I'm Black and I'm happy in America." You can be rich, you can be successful, you can be popular, but can you be happy? And that's what got us in the point where we are right now, where we're like, okay, so it's all been false.
Right.
And what I love about your book was, at the end of the day, do we feel false because of America, or we feel false because we brought into the idea that at some point we're still waiting for America to go, okay, now you're good. Like right now, I think all the protests, I think everything is demanding a certain aspect of, we know we put into this culture, give us respect.
Right.
But how long we're gonna do this for? I don't know if we're waiting for a commercial. I don't know if we're waiting for all right, you won, it's good, we equal. I don't know if that's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen. But I think the idea is that we're saying we know how much we're involved, and we have to let go of a certain past. And I thought that was great about it. You know, the book was, you can hold on to the past of what you've been through, and that does propel you to where you're going. But at some point, you gotta let go about what you've been through, because all it does is remind you of pain.
Yeah, and that's, that's always the big question.
Like,
You
what are
know,
we doing this for? Like, what is all the protests for? It's for the acknowledgement of, we're going through a lot of shit, and we don't mind going through it. It makes us stronger, but don't act like we're not going through it. Like, don't. This is what drives us crazy about America. Like, don't say we're just complaining to complain. We're complaining because it's being factual and it's being evident that
right,
we are not treated equal.
right,
Like every immigrant, when you come to America, there is no culture in America but capitalism. That's
right,
the only culture that matters in America. It
right,
doesn't matter where you come from or what your heritage is. When you come to America, you're here to make money and make your life better for
right,
your kid and their kid and their kid and their kid. And that doesn't come with culture, that comes with capitalism. That's what America said. Your definition of the melting pot was so brilliant, because growing up as a kid, the melting pot was described as, this is a place where all the immigrants and all different cultures come together and survive. No, the melting pot means all the cultures come and get melted and
yeah,
get,
right. And
cooked.
so there's this question, right? Like the story of the Ford factory is that this was a real thing, right? And immigrants came to the country. They went out to the Ford factory in Detroit, and to get the $5 a day, which was a lot of money, they had to get Americanized, which meant they had to learn to talk and learn to this, and a lot of it was very demeaning because they already knew how to talk and they knew how to
That's
do the
right.
finances. It was a language barrier. But then there was this, I remember when I discovered this, I was like, holy shit, I couldn't believe it was real. That one day a year, he had an Americanization day, and like I said earlier, there's this giant a facade, a plywood facade of a melting pot, and all the immigrants who were approved to be Americanized would come out dressed up in the clothing of their original country, which most of them didn't have. Like, it's not like the German guys showed up in a barrel on lederhosen. Like, he didn't know what the fuck they were talking. Like, they had to run out to like some FX or prop house and get them. So they'd come out dressed up in these ludicrous outfits and walk up a ladder on the side of this plywood thing, walk down behind it. Once they were out of view of the audience, they take off all that silly stuff and they've got on a nice suit and tie. And someone behind the scenes hands them American flag, which you and I both know is made in China,
Yeah.
and walks up the ladder on the other side and comes out, and everyone applauds because now he's an American and he's got a flag. And so I, in 2020, look at that, and I was, suitably lefty liberal horrified. Like, oh my God, that's horrible. And for some people there, I'm sure it was. But to be fair, you also know that for some people there, that was a great moment.
Of
That
course.
was like, holy shit, I'm here, I made
I
it.
matter. I matter. Yes.
Yeah, and they left somewhere. They didn't want to be there. It sucked. So to me, it's really emblematic of this question of like, we're here now, and we don't, all I see certainly from my people, is a constant looking backward,
Yeah.
there's a point in the book where Zero, who's the only girl, which is why she's named Zero, because the mother is.
The mom ignored her. That was great. When she did the play-by-play of every birth.
Yeah.
Now, I thought it was so good. When she did the play, and Zero, she's like, yeah, I forgot your birth. I don't know.
I don't know, because you
I don't
don't
remember. It
name
just her
Zero.
Mud's commitment to her energy and feeling of each kid was so consistent. And
Yeah.
Zero being her last and go, yeah, I don't remember. Like it just was.
Yeah. But Zero's issue, because she was left out of the family, and to me, maybe that was a gift in a weird way,
Yeah.
because it allowed her to be who she was, and
She
not.
wasn't burdened by the tradition. Yeah.
Yeah. And what she says to them while they're essentially cutting up the mother and getting ready to eat her is, when you get into a car and you're 16, the first thing the driver instructor tells you is don't drive in the rear view mirror. Don't sit there looking at the car behind you, because you're going to hit the fucking tree.
That's right.
And every kid looks in the mirror and hits the tree. And yet, like, I feel like from where I came from, at least, that's all people did was, here's our policy on blank because of the Holocaust. Here's how we feel about Egyptians because of slavery in Egypt, or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
And what I walk around the streets and you walk around the streets and we work together and we know each other, and none of that needs to matter. None of that focusing on it. It matters on who we are and how we perceive ourselves. But I don't see it as a future. I don't see how we move forward if we're constantly looking back.
Well, I mean, this is the funny part, because like you brought up, we work together, and it's so funny because you would think, and I don't want to get in trouble, but you would think that, once you really understand American culture, which is about making money and taking care of you, that you wouldn't look back in the rearview mirror and look at your past and demand people to. I think we demand people to acknowledge it. I don't think we should. The idea that we should get paid or we should be. It's just hard. I mean, we did Happiest together, and let's talk about, if we can digress. Let's talk about Happiest. I think Happiest was probably, in my career, top 3 best written shows, right? And we were doing things with Happiest that was speaking about how absurd we were now getting introduced to social media and the power of that.
Right.
But our catalyst was this European actor who was complaining about his life, living in Woodstock with a big house and 3 kids, and they were like, we don't want to. We don't want to watch that. We don't want to watch about some dude complaining about his life.
Right.
And he has a house in Woodstock, a good job, and 3 kids. And
Right.
we can't say, social media sucks, but Showtime is telling us to tweet it. Showtime is telling us to use social media to promote the show because it was a new vehicle at the time.
Yeah.
And I think in being a Black American, or being just a Black dude living in America, we've already, I mean, we've reached presidential status. Like we had a president.
Yeah.
Like we had a president, and we're still. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't. It doesn't.
It's anything.
It's a good story. It makes it for a good book.
Hey, you know what? I'm a Bernie guy. We still don't have a president.
We still don't. Yeah, you still have. I mean, I just thought I didn't know if it was a. I didn't know if it was a mental cop out, or I didn't know if it was a organic reality of what we need to do to just be happy while we're here. When you said, yo, you know what your past is, but throw it away. Like, throw it away and just deal with it right now. Because if you're dealing with trying to make up for the past issues, you're never going to be sad. You're never going to find happiness, because there's nothing that's ever going to equate what people have went through,
right,
as a not as an individual, but as a culture. you're here now to try and make your best life and succeed with doing what everybody does as far as making sure my grandkids and their grandkids and their grandkids and everybody has an equal shot. And if
Yeah.
we keep on going, if we keep holding on to what we've been through and what we suffered through, we're never gonna be happy because there is no retribution for that. There is no retribution for genocide. There is no retribution for Holocaust. There is none. There's no, how much money you make or whoever makes it will never equal what masses went through. So now it's about cleaning the slate. If you're going to stay here in America, you're going to clean the slate and go, what do we do from now moving forward? Not from now looking backwards. Which
Well,
is you
yeah.
said about the music.
To me, it's like we know we have to know the past and we have to
We
learn.
have to. That's
But-
right. To call bullshit when bullshit needed. You
Yeah.
only need to know the past so that you can call bullshit when it happens.
Yeah, I know what happened, but with me, I felt like the past was always used as a weapon to keep me in the world they wanted to keep me in.
That's right.
My parents, my community. It was like, oh, you're gonna go eat a cheeseburger. Well, what about Hitler? And it's like,
Yeah.
wait, what the fuck?
Like, okay, so
Yeah.
can I enjoy this burger? Can I enjoy the burger right now? Like, what happened?
No, you can't. My mother said to me when she found a Burger King wrapper in my car when I was 17, which was her car. She told me I was finishing what Hitler started.
So, yeah.
I'm like, what? Hitler started a Happy Meal?
I don't remember that toy. I don't remember the swastika toy. I don't know. It never came up. It never came up in the fucking.
Oh, damn it! I got a little Himmler. I was hoping for the Hitler. So yeah, so it's like this weird, like, what do you do? And the a book that really influenced this for me was a book called The Lies That Bind. I don't know if you know it, but by a guy named Kwame Anthony Appiah, and it's staggering because what he's talking about is, whether you say you're Kenyan or Swedish or from Florida, like, what is that? Those are just fictional. Those things don't mean anything because Kenya wasn't always Kenya and this one wasn't that. And then the Dutch came in and it's all sort of imposed on us. And it works pretty hard to keep us from either coming together or even just becoming ourselves individually.
Well, the problem is, or I guess the dilemma is, what you're using the past for, because it can hold you back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a balance because it can hold you back, or what it's supposed to be is motivation. You know what we went through, so that you're gonna work extra hard to prove that that wasn't true in the past, or that we're better now. So
Yeah.
your past is supposed to motivate you. It's supposed to be like, listen, no, you was laying on somebody's feet back in the day, and now you got a chance to run $1 million company. And when they always tell us, and I'll broaden it from just black. When they tell immigrants, you got to work twice as hard or 3 times hard, they're telling you a certain work ethic that you should automatically have, but you don't have because you wasn't given the idea or the opportunity to believe in yourself. And then once you had that, like I remember growing up as a kid, I was the only kid in my neighborhood in the Bronx that grew up with my mom and dad in the same house. So everybody in my neighborhood loved me and protected me and thought I was great, but I thought I was soft because I didn't have that drama. I didn't have I lost a dad. Oh, my mom was arrested. I felt like, okay, I can never be as hard as you or as motivated as you because I didn't have the heartache.
Right.
And so my parents were like, oh yeah, you didn't have the heartache because we were whipped, because we were enslaved, so it is a great sense of motivation, but I think at the same time, it also becomes our shackle because at some point you just don't believe anymore. And I think 7, he didn't believe anymore, so he avoided. He escaped. Like he would have cursed out the psychiatrist a long time ago and be like, Don't tell me it's not true. Like the idea that psychiatrist didn't believe no matter what. She's a psychiatrist. She didn't believe his story at all. She was
Right.
like, your cannibalism story is false. It's psycho.
Right.
It
And,
shows that's what America says. Your pain is psycho because
Right.
you're here now. Make
Right.
the money.
and what a good shrink would do would say, yeah, I get it. That must have sucked. That
Yes,
must
that
have
must have sucked. Now I don't believe you. that must have sucked.
right.
And
And
I don't. All right, so tell me, there's two things in the book that I want to question.
yeah,
Because I didn't. I think it's the artist. It's the artist's responsibility to tackle these type of stories about integrity, about equality. Like you tackled a lot because you're speaking about another genre of people dealing with not being represented, not being looked at as equal, trying to hide. And you're right. The one thing that separated blacks and Asians is that we couldn't hide. Like we
right.
couldn't say I'm not. We couldn't. Your ending was it was such a relief because I also I go in between and dealing with my past and trying to let go of my past at the same time. I have to move forward. And there's a part in your book where you said, your past is one chain on you and one in the mud. It will drag you down.
Mhm.
And then at the end of the book, he did 7 did. Oh, sorry. Can I say the end? I don't want to spoiler alert. I'm from HBO.
Vaguely.
Vaguely. At the end, it was about
Right.
forget
Right.
or move on. What was your ending about?
Um,
Should we forget our past or should we hold on to our past because it makes us who we are today?
I don't think well, first of all, there's no forgetting because it's part of who we are. Like you said,
DNA.
you can't change the color of your skin. I can't undo everything I was taught. So to me, the ending for Seventh was symbolic. It was an acceptance of, I have a kid and I don't want them to suffer through what I went through. So I'm gonna look forward, right?
Does he tell his kid? Because he said some great things about Reese. He was like,
Yeah.
I want her to be her. So
Yeah.
does he not tell Reese
He
her
hasn't,
history?
when the end of the book happens, he hasn't. I don't know what he's going to do
Do you
5
think
years.
he should?
So, well, look, I have 2 boys,
Yeah.
right? And the best answer I can give is that what I've tried to tell them about their past is not horror stories, but look, here's the reality. I'd say, if you had a choice, would you want to be Jewish in this world? I don't know. Would you want to be black? Would you want to
No.
be?
Most people say no.
Every group should say no because if you had a chance, you wouldn't be human.
That's right.
You just asked to be here.
That's
So
right.
what I do tell them though is, you know what? There's some great stuff.
Yeah.
There's some good. Jews are a pain in the ass. I like that about them. Jews
Yeah.
ask annoying questions. The
Yeah.
Spanish are right to chase us out.
Yeah.
We get irritating, and I like that. We're the grease and the sand and the grease. So, but I don't tell them that makes us special and that nobody else is. Like I say to my kids, you know what? You should check out Lenny Bruce, but you should check out Richard Pryor.
That's right.
And it's not a question of me politicking for the past or for my people. I want them to. I think it's our responsibility, particularly, I turned 50, and so we're the elders now, and I think
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. We're vintage.
we're vintage.
We're kind of golden. We're the golden age. We're the golden era.
Oh, golden's later. We're silver.
Oh.
So I think it's like for us to kind of go, hey, here's what worked and here's what didn't.
Yeah.
But
All right.
my people, such as they are, and they're not my, I hate all that. One of the things the book sort of advocates for is, an end to all this nation shit. Like I don't know what purpose this is serving us anymore. I get it when we were prehistoric or even after that, but right now there's too many of us to have these divisions. And whether you're happy about it or sad about it, our kids, yours and mine, our grandkids, aren't going to be white or black. They're going to be gray. They're going to be brown, and that's fucking awesome.
The fucking is real. The fucking is real.
Well, that's an awesome ending.
That was the only way to escape the race issue is fucking. And
it's a fucking book. The book is pro.
I think I told you before, and I want to hear your opinion. I don't know who's listening or whatever, but I remember my daughter was little and Barack Obama was first running for president. And I guess he was in like first grade, and the school was like, for current affairs, we want you to, look at the debate between Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and write about it. And my daughter, at 1, 2 years old, whatever, just second grade, she's looking at it and she was like, I don't understand. What's the big deal? Like, what's the big deal? And I was like this. My mind was like torn between there is no big deal. It's another presidential race. Or I just take you out back and tie you to a fucking tree and whip you and show you why it's a big deal. And I didn't choose the latter, but I was like, what's your book?
See, here's my thing with Obama, right? I love the guy. I was proud of him. When he spoke, I was like, yes, and he's talking about progress and accepting one another as human beings, and I'm right with him. And then the camera pans down, and on his jacket is an American flag, and I'm like, oh.
But that's what it is. We're here. We're here. We're trying to make it here. We're not trying to make it. If he would have had an African flag, if we're trying to make it in Africa, we're trying to make it here. We're trying to say, give us the best shot here. What messed me up about Obama, you know what drove me crazy about Obama? It wasn't about the winning. It was about the number one poster was Obama with the word hope. The word hope was the plaster. The word hope was the plaster of this race. Yeah. And I think the word hope is one of the most, I would say top 5 for me, one of the most dangerous words in the world. The dangerous word in the world is hope because it keeps you in a certain box going, it ain't good, but I hope it gets better. I'll keep doing this because I hope it gets better. And I think that's where we are right now. Right now, we're at a state where, okay, this one president took us too far. He went too far crazy. And now we hope that we can go backwards.
Right, and fix it.
And I don't know if there's a backwards to fix it. So in your book, when we got to the end part, he kept hearing the story about his grandfather, and they're like, keep it, no keep it. It was worth it to come to America, or it wasn't worth it to come to America. His idea was, okay, I'm gonna throw this, I'm gonna do this, and I hope it gets better. I hope that at least for me, and what I'm doing, it gets better. And I wonder how you feel about the word hope. I think hope is a dangerous word. What do you feel about the word hope?
My last book was called Hope, a Tragedy. So that's some clue. I think the problem with it is it's a double-edged sword, right? Without it, you don't do anything.
You cut on both sides, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and so I think you have to hope, but you also have to get angry. You gotta get your hope, and you gotta work hard to change. And it's a question of optimism versus pessimism. And I agree with you. I think that what bothered me about the whole Hope Obama thing was that he basically just took everything every politician's ever said and just boiled it down to one word. That's all. When people fill stadiums for Trump, they're thinking, yeah, there's hope. We're gonna make America great again.
I think now, and like you said, I'm in the elder stages, and I understand again how certain things like our past, certain words can be motivating, but at some point they become debilitating. At a certain point, they kind of stagnate progression because you feel like I don't have to do something. I hope it gets better. I
Right.
don't have to fight. I hope, I hope other people. I just think I just feel like it's a dangerous word, and I might be a curmudgeon, but I just think it's a dangerous word.
If you look at like MLK's writings, he was very hopeful when he was young, and as he got
Not
older,
so much after.
much,
Not so much after. He was like, yo.
a little bit like, well, maybe I was wrong. Maybe it needs, maybe change doesn't come from hoping.
That's right.
And it doesn't. It doesn't.
It does not. It does not. It does not.
You know, I'm here in LA. We're watching, you know, the marches and then the looting, and everyone's, you know, up in arms. And I remember when I was a kid, I was really young at the time when Do the Right Thing came out, and you know, in the world I was in, Do the Right Thing was like, oh my God, he's telling people to burn down cities, you know, and all I could do is look at it and go, well, shit, if I was that color, if that was me, damn right I'd throw a trash can through a window.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know that it solves anything. I don't know that it, but I think there's somewhere in the Venn diagram of Malcolm and Martin that it does cross over. It's a question of finding that balance.
I think
And
you
as,
know.
as a white Jew, I know I'm not supposed to say anything about that.
I think the boy. Well, I can. Thank God you picked me to be your partner. I think the Do the Right Thing was great, and I think at the end of the day, even in the destruction, because when you get angry, you destroy stuff. But I think you destroy more when you realize that you might have been complacent.
Right.
I think that was for me the defining story of Do the Right Thing when he threw the garbage can into his own workplace and he was saying, "Fuck my money, because I got complacent, because I thought everything was good because I feel good."
Yeah, and I think all that's a big piece of, again, what the book is about, which is not saying ditch the past or any kind of like pie in the sky humanist stuff. It's just saying, look, if that's all that we're doing, if all that we're doing is looking backward, if there's no narrative for where we want to go, if there's
That's right. You can't be stuck. You can't be still. You can't be still.
You
There's
know,
always movement. There's always learning. There's always better. So you can't be still and saying, like my man Al Pacino in Scarface, this is it.
right.
This
I made
is it. Too much of anything is bad. And I know I think immigrants coming here, no matter how they got here, we started way further back. But in our journey of just happiness and equality, you just can't be complacent. And I think for a lot of us, Black Americans, when hip hop, listen. The only reason, and I always get in trouble when I talk about this in bars, but the only reason that in America, blacks became at least so much part of the conversation was because we made more money. We created hip hop.
Absolutely.
We created hip hop, and that gave us a viable commodity in culture. So now we have a bigger soapbox to talk from. Because right now, in the midst of all this, nobody's really talking about, less is being talked about sex trafficking. Less is being talked about immigrants are still in cages right now. Like, we control narrative because we control half of the money because we invested or created so much in this culture that sells that we have the platform. But overall, it's about complacency and knowing that we're never going to be the best until we all agree that what we're doing is the best for each other.
Right. And so
what's great about your book was you just introduced the world to a forgotten culture. Like when the last time you heard about a Native American book? Like we still say Indian by accident.
Right. Yeah.
If you say the N-word, you'll get punched in your mouth. If you say Indian, you won't get punched in your mouth.
Yeah.
Like we took over that to a point where we go, if you say the N-word, you might get punched in your mouth, and you understand why. If you say Indian, you won't get punched in your mouth. They'll go, that's not good.
Right, but even you're saying N-word.
I'm saying N-word because I don't want to get you comfortable. Like I'm on the Zoom. I'm on the Zoom. And right now we got baby ears. If I say the N-word, they're like, he made it sound so lovely. I make everything sound my voice is good. I don't want anybody to, sound like
Suddenly duck out. I'll be like, hey, look, I don't know.
But I thought.
The thing though is for me is like where the best thing that came out of this for me was learning, and this is a true thing, and Zero says it, that at the core of it, we all start off, all creatures start off as one of two things.
The mouth and the asshole. I know. I thought that was brilliant. Mouth and the asshole.
And it's so hard to believe that it's true that my publisher was like, yeah, we can't use that because it's not true. I'm like, no, here's the science.
You researched that.
It's actually a true thing. We
talk to how many science? Don't tell me 4 out of 10. Don't tell me don't do the dentist thing and say 7 out of 10. How many? What scientist told you that we are born as a cell and our mouth and our asshole are first?
No, assholes first with humans, not mouth.
Assholes first.
Yes, I spoke to 20.
Give me the number.
I spoke to the even number. I'm not going to give you the number, but I'll tell you that I spoke to an even number of Black, white, Cuban, male and female, and Jewish, so that it's across the board. We're all okay. But here's the thing: we are all assholes. That's
how can we not be?
Me,
we're trying to make it.
That like it's not just that they're saying to me, well, don't forget about the Holocaust, but it's also that they're saying, and Jews are better, and every race does. Everybody does that.
That's
and
right.
You know what? I feel like if a politician stood up and said, here's my platform, we're all fucking assholes, I'd vote for him.
Listen. I will say this. What shocked me when Trump got elected.
Yeah.
What blew me away, and I don't know, of course, I can never tell now because of all the country we live in. A lot of women voted for him. He grabbed women by the pussy, but a lot of women voted for him. And he said a statement in one of his platforms, in one of his rallies, that I knew he had a bigger possibility to win than everybody thought in metropolitan, like New York, Chicago, LA. We all thought, no way, it's not gonna happen. We forgot about middle America. We forgot about the world is big. And when he said to the Black people, what you got to lose? Like, hey guys, look what you've been through. What do you got to lose? When he said that statement, I was like this. Okay, hey, I'm a gambler, man. Listen, I don't know what I got to lose. I do now, but I didn't know then. When he said, hey, Democrat, Republic, what do you got to lose?
Right.
That was a win. That was a win statement. Yeah. That told everybody, this is the narrative of I don't know if there's ever been an election where it was like, oh my God, I don't know which one, they're both good. No, it's always been, oh my God, I don't know which one is worse.
No, it's always, the way I phrased it this the other day was the lesser of two weasels.
That's right. And yeah. I don't know why, at some point, there hasn't been a time where we go, you know what? Change all this. We're not gonna pick between one and two. We want a whole new election. We want a whole new other two. We don't do that because the system is what you do. And I guarantee you,
but everybody wants that.
I don't know if they want it. I just think listen, I don't think they want it, but I traveled, like I'm late to the game. So I started traveling by myself. And I don't think we want that. But the idea of without that, we might be in, like, if we say burn it all, like, we should start from scratch. We know, deep down we know we should destroy the system and create a new one. But in the middle of that destroying and creating, nobody wants to live in a mud hut. Like, nobody wants to start from scratch and be like, okay, so I'm not going to have nothing.
No, I don't want to burn it down. I just want to renovate it.
Yeah, that's like, to renovate it, sometimes, listen, when the foundation is sinking, you gotta destroy it. You gotta destroy the whole thing.
Right. Well, I'm being grateful.
That's right. That's
All right.
right.
You know what? I think we're getting close, and there's a couple of questions. So they told me.
Okay, wait. I want to ask you one question.
Yeah.
There was one line that kind of bothered me a little bit, and
Okay.
I love the tongue in cheek. I thought it was fun and educational about where we are, but something came out of left field because there was no cadence to why it came out. But when Seven said, "I'm tired of my wife and her Latina bullshit," I was like this. Wait, what Latina? Why? What was Latina about what she did? She didn't return the,
Oh,
she
no,
didn't return the message.
right. Exactly. That's the point. The point is that,
Why is that Latina bullshit?
well, she's Latino, but it's not a question of the bullshit. The question was, the more he got dragged into Mud's way of thinking
Yeah.
and sending into, we've been hurt, we've been this, we're special, we invented fire, the more he started to hate his brother for marrying a Jew, the
Okay.
white
Right.
strangers in
So
the
you
picture.
just start hate all of us.
Hating everybody, and that's what always happens. It's never like, if I came from a family that's Jewish but hated black people, I guarantee you, if we drove through Chinatown, I'm not going to hear a whole lot of compliments either about them.
Right.
Once you start drawing those lines, everybody stays out of that box. It's only you in that box. So,
Okay. But he had a lot. I guess as an audience reading, we had a lot of I guess backdrop to the Jew bullshit, like all the Latina bullshit came out of left field. He was like this, and she didn't respond to my message. No text, no nothing. I'm sick of that Latina bullshit. And I was like, wait.
oh, but that's totally what
I
happened.
was like, wait. She didn't say
No,
bring home a hoja boil.
Haven't you been in situations where it's somebody you know or you've been working with or you overhear about it and it's like things are going great, you never hear a thing, and then I'm talking, and then suddenly it's like, don't give me that Jew shit. And you're like, whoa, where'd that come from? And it comes from the minute you build that shit around you.
That's right. Okay.
Everything. So I wanted it to be out of left field because I wanted
I left. I circled down like this. Whoa.
exactly.
Well, that could have been any woman. That's every. I've dated a lot of girls. I've been a lot of women. Like if they don't return your text, they just mad. I ain't know why it was Latina. That's woman bullshit. That's like you ain't called.
I know. That's the point. For me,
Nice.
so my one question for you is, what two other shows do you think was better written than Happiest? That's bullshit.
I think I May Destroy. Have you watched I May Destroy You? Have you watched I May Destroy You?
I'll give you Wire.
I May Destroy You is my second.
Oh, okay. All right.
Or Fleabag. Fleabag was good. I think Happiest was the best written show. I think Happiest had the wrong lead.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not your fault. Let's be clear.
No.
The late great, I'm a New Yorker, born and raised in the Bronx. Philip Seymour Hoffman is a GOAT. He's the GOAT. And if Philip Seymour Hoffman is complaining, it's Archie Bunker. It's the American Society. It's the idea of I bought into a system that's full of shit.
Right.
That's great. When you have a Steve Coogan, who's dope, but with his accent, it's like this. Hey, you're not even from here. Get the fuck out of here. Like, what are you complaining about?
Yeah.
You're banging Catherine Hahn. You got a house in Woodstock. You got a good job. What the fuck are you complaining about? And then timing, I don't think we were ready. And I'm speaking outside of my pay grade because I'm just the actor. But I don't think we, as far as industry, meaning television, at that point, I don't think we knew how powerful social media was as far as advertising and word of mouth. Word of mouth was controlled by Hollywood. The narrative was controlled by magazines, commercials, and billboards. That's how we control what's a hot show. You get good reviews, you get more billboards, you pay for P&A. But when we came out, a lot of narrative was chosen by social media, and our show was demonizing social media.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say fuck social media, but tweet it.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm happy to go down fighting.
Oh no, I'm happy if we come back.
Yeah.
And I think now we can come with that show, and if we came out with that show now, I think it'd be better because I think a lot of people love social media and a lot of people hate social media, so it's even now.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
when we came out, everybody wanted to know what the ones that hated social media just didn't know how to do it. So I think now,
I think that's right.
yeah, if we came out now, a half an audience like this. Yeah, fuck these social, fuck the selfie, fuck that. But when
Right.
we came out, selfie was a big deal. Selfie was a big
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
to express yourself, and we're saying you're stupid to do it, but tweet
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, listen, I blame a lot of things for.
So listen, you ain't gotta blame it. Throw away the fucking sword and come up with some new stuff. Let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah, it's been a little hard
I
to
think
stick
Mother
with.
for Dinner be a great 7-part mini series.
Yes, and think of that. Yeah.
When seven ate the mom, that was big. Like he did it.
That's the end of
He went in. And I always think the cliffhanger is like this. No, you gotta eat more. That's everybody's like this. No, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because no matter what you do, they want you to do more.
Yeah, there wasn't more. He was like, and the whole family, even 10, he was like this. No, we good. I'm
Yeah.
not.
Right.
He gave her all of his slight about the book and following the rules. He's like, what? How much? No.
Right. Because he's the one. There's a part of me that's him. That's like,
Yeah,
am I getting
I'll
paid?
go all in.
Yeah.
I'm not going that far.
I mean, for me, the whole thing is, the most important thing was to take some of this and just laugh, because not to say it isn't serious or painful, but that I think that
We learn more from laughter, man. We learn more
think
from laughter. And I thought, again,
yeah,
the description of the mom. Listen, I'm a mama's boy. When she broke down the births and everybody had the love, and she was like 0, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
That had me laugh out loud because I'm like, wow, that's consistent. That's
Yeah.
consistent. Oh my God.
One of these questions is, how do you feel that identity politics is dividing our current America and the presidential election? How do you think satire helps us address these issues? So, I'll be honest, like, the thing that I find most terrifying now is the fear of laughter.
Yeah.
You can't say shit.
No, Dave Chappelle said that. We got baby ears now. We got baby ears. And listen, we never used to have this kind of, like, back in the day, everybody was fighting for a voice. And now that we have social media, everybody has a voice. Everybody can find followers, can find a hashtag. So now we have to learn how to navigate through, okay, listen, let's not get too much of anything is bad. Yeah. And comedians are the philosophers of our generation, showing you that, you know what, I can't browbeat you. I can't talk to you like you're stupid, but I can make you laugh and you might learn something. So when you start chopping them down at the heel, we're losing an educator in the community.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. I feel like, there's loads of people I can read or watch or, about the world right now, but the truest one is Chappelle, probably. I mean,
826?
Yeah, I know. He's not fucking around.
Oh my God, that was genius.
Yeah, but it's not, it still has that same aspect, which I think is, again, what I really liked in the book when it emerged was, yes, all this is fucked up, but you know what? We're all assholes.
We're all assholes. Listen, we can survive it. We can grow from it. Yeah. Like if we can grow from an asshole to a full body, so we have a shot. we didn't stop at the asshole. We grew. Asshole, chat, like, I agree, and I think there's in the acting world, in the entertainment world, the stand-up comedian is the hardest job ever.
Yeah.
The hardest job ever, because you're putting yourself out there, you're telling jokes, and you're being rude, or you're running into so many roadblocks of disrespectful or offensive. You're just trying to make somebody laugh, and you're trying to make somebody look at it like it's not that serious, though. If we all, can you imagine what this world would be like if we all just liked each other? Like, look how we gotten so far with all the divide, with all the pain. Look what we created. Can you imagine if we all just liked each other? It'd be Asgard. It'd be fucking Wakanda forever. Like,
We just laughed at ourselves.
yeah, like, stop it.
Like, yeah, exactly. Stop flying the flags for yourself and for this and for that. And we all suck.
Listen, I'd rather a country, I'd rather a world move or be motivated by laughter than by fear. And right now, the country is motivated by fear. Everybody feel like they're gonna lose what they got.
Well, fear sells.
Fear sells. And laughter sells. Listen, if you look at Netflix, laughter sells more.
Anything funny on Netflix?
Laughter. Netflix is giving every comedian at least $10 million. Like, laughter sells. Every comedian's like, yo.
It works for the comedians, but it doesn't work.
Right.
No, I look at Netflix and I cry.
Well, you cry because you don't know where to go because so many. Listen, I don't want to spoil that many.
No, how much shit can they come up with? Like, I just like,
Listen, they got a Black Lives Matter section. I don't know if that's a gift or a curse. I think it's a problem. Me personally, I think it's a problem. But everybody else is like, yo, I can't look. They got all the good movies on Black Lives Matter section.
If I opened up Netflix and they had a tab that said Jews, I'd pack my shit and leave.
That's right. That's what I said. But then I realized the Black Lives Matter section on Netflix, it's not for me.
No, I know.
You need to educate yourself. If you need to educate yourself, go ahead. Go ahead and watch. Go ahead and watch. Scroll through and find out what Negro you like best. Find out what Negro suits you. You want Denzel Negro, or you want Dave Chappelle, or you want Eddie Murphy?
That'll be Monday night. Jews on Tuesday. Asian.
That's right.
Thursdays,
They had a couple of shows, and that I get in trouble for this because I got my peoples, but like they had a show called Underground. Underground was a good show. Great actors. But it was about the Underground Railroad, about slavery. I don't know why that would be a hit that I got to go every Wednesday night. Hey, it's Wednesday, Underground Railroad. It's time to go to
I'll tell you what, much worse. I forget what it was called. It was like a bunch of like hip 70s Nazi hunters. What the fuck was that?
That was Al Pacino. Come on, the Hunters. Come on. That was good. No.
No.
That was good. No, you got Al Pacino. Sorry. You lost me. No, wasn't that Hogan's Hero?
Yeah.
You had a show called Hogan's Hero about the camp, and you got a couple of good folks. That was good. But Al Pacino Hunters is okay. No, Al Pacino. Sorry.
Everything about that show is okay.
It's Al Pacino.
Level. All right, man. I really appreciate
brother.
You're breaking your virtual quarantine.
Yes. Oh, there you go. He just jumped on. He just jumped on the young one. The young one jumped on. Powerhouse. I don't like the way it came out. Powerhouse. Are we done, Powerhouse? Did we allot our time? Did we answer enough questions?
You got final thoughts?
Buy the book. Always the final thought is buy the book. Mother for Dinner. If your mom asked you to eat her, would you really say no? As the only child, I would not.
That's the commercial there. That's the commercial.
Right. All right, guys. Be good.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you. Excellent discussion. Thank you so much, Shalom, Andre. Everyone asked questions. This is one of the most thoughtful, funniest, wide-ranging, events we've had, and it'll be on YouTube if you missed any of it. And buy the book.
All right.
All right. Be good, brother.
Right next to a Fortnite tutorial that everyone's watching.
All right. Be good, guys.
Take care.
All right.